Hey, what is up guys? Masterleaf here, back to do another exciting replay. This one will be once again against Senna. Like I said in my previous video, I have a bunch of games which I found to be pretty awesome and deserving of their own video. Now what is this matchup, Leaf? It is Masterleaf Kane versus ZOCOM. I know what you're thinking. Masterleaf Kane, ZOCOM. But if you recall that game I played versus Space, I believe it was in 2020 now. Wow, time really does fly, doesn't it? But that replay was probably one of the best replays of all time, if you guys would agree. The amount of views that got from various casters was insane. And that was Masterleaf Kane versus ZOCOM. So it's a great matchup. Perhaps not so good for ZOCOM, but we'll see how this game goes. I feel this game is pretty extraordinary. When I say extraordinary, I mean extraordinary. So it's on a pretty map. Yeah, right, Leaf. Pretty map. It's a nice map, pred map. It's a different take on tournament decision. Has a blue tip field in the middle, an EMP control center in the bottom right. There's not two spikes per player. There's only one, but there's one contested one in the top left corner, which I am taking. It's a bit risky versus random, but he also didn't know my faction because I picked random myself. I'm going to grab myself this tip spike up in the top left corner. Pretty good for Scrin. I don't imagine Scrin would ever lose a fight there, just because the line of sight is pretty small for those ranged units like the Cabals and the Masterleaf Kane or squads. Now what have I been up to in Kane draft besides playing games? Well, I have fixed a couple of things. I've made the avatar and purifier husk now show team color. Surprisingly, it took me years to realize that that didn't have it, but nonetheless it is fixed now. You can see in the video I am superimposing that that does indeed have team color now. Also, I was browsing through the XML files that EA released and found also on the Breakaway Games video for Kane's Draft, which is the company that made Kane's Draft. It was, I believe, a studio that did some of the work while EA LA worked on Red Alert 3. Anyways, they shown the Redeemer with a FX on the flamethrower of the Redeemer, and I was most interested in that. So I went in and investigated in the game files, and it turns out that it was not shown when the when the Black Hand Squad is inside of the Redeemer. So now that does show, and oddly enough, it was fixed in the files that EA published. So they must have had that fixed for 1.03, but it has been in the game for 15 years. It just did not show. So yeah, some fun trivia there. Pitbull APC rush coming in to my base. Buggies only for me, so the DPS is going to be pretty low. However, I am Masterleaf Kane, so I can draft the Shredder turret and get EMP 4 seconds in R20 now. That was a nerf to the Masterleaf Kane. However, you do get those $1,000 quad turrets, which will more than make up for that draft nerf. Why is it nerfed, Leaf? Why did you nerf the EMP duration of the Awakening? Well, it's because EMPs are so much more reliable in 1.02 plus nowadays, and they throw instantly. In vanilla, it's 5 seconds, but it actually takes 1 full second to throw the EMP. Most of the time, it does not even fire unless you press the S key to get it to work. So, to compensate for that, and the range buff that Awakened got, reduced the duration to 4 seconds. Masterleaf Kane were overrepresented in R19. Anyway, I'm doing a very unorthodox strategy here. Buggies and Enlightened squads. This game already shaping out to be something special. The DPS of these Enlightened is very low without supercharged particle beams. However, their main utility is in their EMP ability. The reason you build those is for the EMP. It's 7.5 seconds, so that's almost double that of the Awakened squad. definitely worth building as the Masterleaf Kane. This is one of the reasons why you pick Masterleaf Kane. And these EMP squads are going to actually have enough DPS to finish off those few tier 1 tanks. They can deal with tanks, but it's not a great unit to win fights quickly. You need to really ensure that you don't have any anti-infantry on your opponent's side, because otherwise these enlightened will be falling quickly. Speaking of anti-infantry, there's a ton of hammerheads there with ceramic armor and AP ammo. Raider buggies can focus them down, but I need to make sure that I click on the individual hammerheads, otherwise none of these will fall. The damage will be sporadic. I do manage to snipe one of the hammerheads there. Debris does fall in this community patch. I did add some debris for the hammerhead. It just disintegrates in the vanilla game, but there was an extra debris model in the art pack that EA released. As I said time and time again, this game was never finished. Hammerheads poke in. Senna killed himself a harvester before. He didn't get himself anything that time. And I did just remember my MCV has expanded to the top left. And I was a bit surprised at this. I completely forgot that I had this. And some fun trivia, this is the game that was played exactly after the game I played on Tournament Apocalypse, where I got that. Spoiler alert, heroic avatar. I deployed a Voice of Kane. I'm going to get some EMP down on these forces, but I can't really stop there and shoot due to those AP ammo towers. Senna has a ton of them there. Stealth tanks out for me, a great counter to the hammerheads. I've also purchased the quad turret upgrade. You'll see possibly in my next video that not enough players get this upgrade. It's only $1,000. I feel like I need to keep repeating that because players should be upgrading it by now. Stealth tanks poking in and out. I do have a heroic raider buggy there. That's not really going to change the tide of battle. Those towers, man, he's got so many of them, he's going to be able to focus down my MCV. And unfortunately, I'm going to lose my position there. And Senna will secure the only other expansion on this map. He is ZOCOM, so that is necessary for him because Masterleaf Kane otherwise can camp and utilize their EMP all day to win out against the ZOCOM that don't have Firehawks. I think ZOCOM's best bet would be to go for Firehawks, but there is always the threat of being hit by stealth tanks, such as these three here that I have. One of them unfortunately does get taken out, and the other two were revealed, so this attack won't even accomplish a single kill on the harvester there. I believe I lost 2 stealth tanks for just a pitbull and a hammerhead. Definitely a bad trade. So Senna, he's been taking win after win for the past couple of minutes. So what's so special about this replay, Leaf, I hear you ask? Well, we're about to see. Huge army approaching my base. Enlightened moving in. Those hammerheads are a threat, but I do have static AA there. That quad turret will also be able to shoot down the hammerheads. Stealth tank in the back there doing what it can. I'm microing it. It has gone veteran, and I can't really afford to lose that since that's my army. Supercharged particle beam about to be researched. That's going to double the damage of my enlightened here. Another SAM turret as well, just so I don't have to focus down those hammerheads with my stealth tank, because I need to use the stealth tanks for DPS to kill this ground army, or try and do as much as I can. Hammerheads sweep in though, kill my enlightened squads. Those hammerheads getting free shots off on all my infantry. I drop a Voice of Kane, but that's a bit too late as most of the infantry has been cleaned up. 3 of the units there get EMP'd. Pitbulls will chase the two stealth tanks that are behind that power plant. I'm still continuing to spam out these stealth tanks, but against this army here, it's looking pretty dire. I'm out of funds almost. My TIF field is depleting. I've got a couple of harvesters there full of Tiberium, but once that has unloaded, I'll have nothing else. I do retain a TIF spike in the top left, But Senna, he's had access to the middle blue tip field and the blue tip field in the bottom right corner. I see a couple units there on very low health. I'm going to go ahead and snipe those with my stealth tank. Stealth tank gaining more XP there. And those remaining predator tanks are just food for this stealth tank. I want to be careful though, because 1 or 2 hammerheads probably could end that quickly. He could suicide in and kill it. So I need to get that to the war factory as quick as possible. And that was quite a brilliant hold by me, considering that he was on top of my MCV with this huge army. I've managed to rebuild and get a couple more stealth tanks out. So I fancy my chances at this point. I feel that I have a chance with this elite stealth tank. If I can somehow get that to heroic, then anything is possible, man. I was victim there to a reverse move bug. One of those stealth tanks almost getting taken out. It's very annoying when it happens. You just got to stay on top of it. And this elite stealth tank, I am paying close attention to it, because I know that he'll probably try and focus that down. I've got a myriad of base defenses in the form of shredder turrets and SAM turrets here, which will impede the movement of those units if he chooses to chase that stealth tank through my base. Stealth tank, though, is still alive. It's killed itself several more units, but it's a long way off from going to that heroic status. I'm going to go ahead and check the middle of the map. At this point, I was a bit worried that he could be trying to bait it in with and just snipe it with a lot of hammerheads or pitbulls, which is possible. I think rocket hammerheads is the way to go against stealth tanks. If you can't build orcas, then maybe putting rockets in your hammerheads as ZOCOM would do the trick. Difficult to say though. However, I'm liking that idea. Huge army once again in my base. So many pitbulls, man. I've only got 1 stealth tank. That's all I have in an enlightened squad. Harvester going down there. EMP fires off. Doesn't even kill. It doesn't even get anything in that radius. I'm dropping SAM turrets. And at this point, he could just march into my base and kill that stealth tank. I only have 2 or 3 shredded turrets with supercharged particle beams. Power does go offline, and just as I need it, the stealth tank goes to that heroic rank. And now I can start focusing on the reinforcements that he's sending in with this heroic stealth tank. Senna will chase the heroic stealth tank. He's not going into my base. I think it would be a bit of a death trap if he went into my base, which is littered with those quad turret static defenses. But this stealth tank will continue to focus down as much as it can. There's an elite APC that fell as well. He's got himself several units ranked up, so he's been cost effective, but not for long, since this heroic stealth tank is insane. And he went into this base. I got an EMP off, which meant those pitbulls could not chase the heroic stealth tank. Heroic stealth tank did not even take a single piece of damage. And despite me losing that top left expansion, I've been able to make a comeback in this match with the stealth tank once more. ZOCOM, of course, have a difficult time versus stealth tanks. People often say that artillery is ZOCOM's weakness, but in reality, it's these stealth tanks, man. They are so oppressive against ZOCOM because they don't have orcas, they don't have zone troopers. Their units have slow projectiles. They miss fast-moving targets. That's why generally ZOCOM doesn't perform so well against nods, but against GDI and Skrins, where their units are pretty slow. Then units such as the ZOCOM Walker are way more effective. You can hit the tripod, you can hit the gun walker even. But Nod AA is super fast and will dodge those sonic shells. I'm dropping these shredder turrets just as bait while I focus down these pitbulls. Senna moved his MCV to my original base, so he's going to probably pop down a refinery there or even a war factory and just spam out more units watchtower wall being deployed. I want to watch that, because if he gets enough of those down, he'll be able to kill that stealth tank. That's still my army. I haven't really got much else. I haven't got any Tiberium left. He's completely starved me out of this game. Shredder turrets there, doing what they can. Stealth tank taking some damage as well. One mistake, if a reverse bug happens here, I'll lose a stealth tank, and of course I would be forced to throw in the towel and call the GG. But look at this go, man. This unit is insane. I feel it's pretty broken. It's just one unit, man. One heroic stealth tank. If you guys ask me, would I want a Redeemer, 5 avatars, or heroic stealth tank? It would be an easy answer. It'd be the heroic stealth tank. It just counters way more. It's insane and game winning. Whereas avatars, they can be EMP'd. Shockwave can counter the Redeemer. But this heroic stealth tank just does not have an answer. I think, as I mentioned before, hammerheads with missile squads inside would do a better job than tier 1 spam. I don't think mammoth tanks is the way to go because of the Enlighten, but I think hammerheads with missiles, and get a lot of them out. If you're ahead and it's just the heroic stealth tank to kill, then that's probably the way to go. This stealth tank though causing so much damage. Senna has bled his whole army out, and that is most likely going to be it. He's going to throw in the towel here. He just does not have an army. This heroic stealth tank took out all of his forces, and I thought that this game was pretty crazy. I mean, how often do you see heroic stealth tanks win games from this position? I had only one tip field. Senna had harvested all of the fields, the 2 blue fields, his expansion and the top left expansion, so he assumed that he could win that game, and he's mostly right, but the micro and that heroic stealth tank is going to be able to finish the job. He's going to make a bunch of infantry here, but I'm marked of Kane, and that means it's just not going to function because I have shredder turrets with charged particle beams. I feel like infantry is not the option. You sometimes see bike rush go for sniper teams and missiles, but that's only if your opponent has this heroic stealth tank and nothing else. If your opponent has even a bit of eco, then he's just going to put down charged particle beam shredder turrets and kill the infantry. Those infantry stand no chance against the upgraded turrets of the Marked of Kane. I get asked this question a lot, but the shredder turret upgrade for Black Hand and Marked of Kane is the same. It's not more for the Marked of Kane. It was in the vanilla patch 1.0, but they patched that in 1.01, and they now deal the same damage as the Black Hand shredder turrets. So yeah, that is going to be GG. Hope you all enjoyed that stealth tank showcase against ZOCOM, and I did provide an answer to it in that video. I believe hammerhead spam with missiles is the way to go. Just reveal it with a radar scan and move through the heroic stealth tank. Make sure you got your hammerheads in a line formation so it's not splashing all of them at the same time. But that is going to be it. I hope you all enjoyed this cast, guys. If you did, then don't forget to smash the like button. And I'd also like to thank all of my Patreons for continuing to support me, my channel, and the 4K mod, the patch, everything I do. I really do appreciate that, guys. Anyways, this is going to be me, Masterleaf. Peace out.